It's the last podcast of the year and also episode 27 of the Homestead Shop Talk podcast with Al from Lumnah Acres, Ben from Hollar Homestead, and myself, Jason from Sow the Land. In today's podcast, we thought it'd be kind of fun if we do kind of, I guess, a Q&A session. We had people on the last podcast ask us some questions, and I got like over 40 questions. So we're going to try to go through those today, see how many we can get through. But first, we're going to talk about our week. Hopefully, everyone had a good Christmas.
Jason, why don't you go first?
So, yeah, pretty low-key Christmas, I'd say. That's kind of how it's been with us out here in North Carolina. And, it's just us. Didn't go anywhere. We smoked a chicken, which was awesome. And elk. We smoked some elk.
Where'd you get elk?
Where'd you get that from? Did you shoot that?
Actually, it's not. It wasn't called elk. It was called. I'm gonna screw this up, but Nilgai. It's called. It's from Texas.
Huh.
It's kind of like a wild. It's like, to me, if you Google it, I think it starts with the N. I forget what it's called, but I had an old neighbor of mine from Texas. He went hunting, and he had all this meat, and he gave us a bunch. And I think it's called Nilgai. I don't know.
Is it like those wild antelope things?
But if you Google it, yeah, I think so. I think he just calls them elk, but they're not really elk. But if you Google it, I think to me, it looks like a cross between a cow and a deer. And I guess I don't know if they're invasive or at some point someone brought them over here, because I think they're popular like maybe in India or something. And I guess someone brought them at Texas at some point. There's like a huge ranch over there that you could go hunting for them. But it tastes good. I mean, I don't know. I guess it tastes like elk.
Enough seasoning and smoke, anything tastes good.
Yeah, we just smoked it with the chicken, and it was great. I mean, it tastes like beef, I guess. So yeah, we did that for Christmas. This week, I find myself every year, the week before Christmas and the week after Christmas is, I think it's like a time for us to like plan our coming year. And so I don't post as many videos as I usually do. I still film, but I might post those like at a later time. And that's really just us just trying to figure out what we want to do this year, as far as like how many meat birds we want to get, try to plan that, look at our calendars, kind of plan things, see what's going on with the feed and things that we want to be doing. So that's what we kind of, these next like week or two, we always, it's not planned. It just kind of happens, I think, organically.
Yep.
Because we're in that mindset of like, it's the end of the year type thing. But what fun thing that we did do this week was go help Ben and the Hollars butcher their steer, which is always fun. And I think it ended up being really good. I mean, Ben could say what his thoughts, but I think it turned out really well. I think we all thought it was going to be a lot quicker than what it was, but
yeah, that's the truth.
But it's still, yeah. I mean, it's a huge animal, and we got it done. And I'm glad we're kind of all there hanging out, and that's what made it more funner, I think. I mean, not too much going on. Oh, I know what I'm doing this week. Also, what happens the end of the year is I always do an end of the year review video for my YouTube channel. And those videos usually do pretty well for me. Like, it's a long video.
You need to tell people how hard those videos are to make.
Yeah. So it takes me about a month to edit this video.
I say that because anytime we do something like that, we get the comments like, "Oh, you just wanted a day off. This is just a rerun. How dare you just put old clips together?" And it's like, do you know how long of a process this is? This is not a day off. Like you said, this is like a month-long project to get this video out.
Right, because you're doing other stuff. You're posting other videos. You're not just working on this one video alone. So you got other stuff going on. And so like off and on, I'm working on it for the last month. And my plan is to hopefully put it out before the 1st or by the 1st,
Yep.
or at least the week after that. Last year's video, it was about an hour long, and it was a year in review video. I think right now we have close to 700,000 views on it.
Nice.
And they all do pretty well. But and again, it takes so much time to do it, and it's so tedious. You know, I say a few curse words, and I might be in a bad mood while editing it.
Yes.
But I try to get it done and chip away at it. That's why it takes me so long, and that's why that's why it takes so long. And then, but once it's done, I'm happy that it's done and it's there and it's out there. It's just getting there.
Yep.
It's a little bit much. So yeah, that's another reason why I'm not putting out as much content this week is because of that too. I got to edit this video, and I think it's going to be a pretty long one. Usually it's about under an hour I shoot for, but I think this time I'm going to shoot for over that, maybe an hour and a half to 2 hour video. Just to do it, just to
try it. Yep.
Try it, see what happens.
So have you guys figured out what you're going to raise for next year, or is that like still coming up? You guys are going to be deciding all that?
I definitely want to get some steers. I was recently offered some steers, and I chose to not do it right now.
I feel
hope I don't regret that, but yeah, I just feel like I'm working on this fence, you know, like I'm working on the high tunnel. Like I really want to get that fence going to a good point where I think I feel comfortable enough to put bigger animals in there. And right now I'm not there. So, plus it costs a lot of money to do the fence. And then like I would have to buy those cows, which you're probably talking like, you know, a couple $1,000s or something, you know. It's cheap. I mean, if you're comparing it to buying a whole cow,
right?
But you're still got to pay something, and so I feel like it just wasn't right. The timing wasn't there. So definitely cows, because we're running out of that beef. You know, and I'm open to either cows or sheep this year. You know, definitely. You know, of course, chickens, turkeys. We have our pigs.
I guess I can pick up kind of where you left off, since you were talking about coming over here. I would like to extend a heartfelt thank you for coming and slugging it out with us all the way to the bitter end. So we picked the coldest day of the year to do this cow on. When I got up that morning, it was like 20 degrees. Everything is frozen. Like, honestly, the weather couldn't have been better for doing a cow. And it ended up taking us 5 hours. Yeah, it was nice. Like, there was no bugs. You weren't sitting there sweating. Well, I was a little bit at one point, but yeah, it ended up taking like 5 hours. It was a lot. It was me, Jason, and a friend of ours, Brian. Yeah, the tractor couldn't pick the thing up. The cow ended up being 1,300 pounds. Tractor would not pick it up. I had to get Jason and our friend Brian to sit on. Yeah, I had to have him sit on the box scraper on the back just so I could drag the thing up onto flat ground. We were finally able. I think it was just a lot of jimmying the thing around, going up and down. I was able to finally get it off the ground, and we got a weight. And, you know, everybody's up at the front where they can see the scale, and they're like 1,300 pounds. I was like, no wonder I can't pick this thing up with this tractor. So I don't think my crane hoist would have picked the thing up. I think I would have ripped the crane off the barn. We got it done. That's all there is to it. We got it done. We were able to get it up high enough to skin it and gut it and split it and all that. And it barely fit in Jason's cool trailer, but we got it in there. Like we got that thing quartered, and it took all three of us to pick up each quarter. So next week when
we had to manhandle that thing.
Yeah, we did. That was like, we only had 2 meat hooks that Jason brought, and so like 2 of us have meat hooks, and the other one's slipping and sliding, trying to hold on to this, you know, dead weight. And we got it in there. We threw it in a wagon and hauled it up to the trailer, and man, You know how it gets towards the end, like it's taking longer than it should have. So we're all hungry, we're tired, it's cold, and we're just done. And so we all came in, we ate. I guess that was dinner because it was so late. It's supposed to be lunch, and everybody went home, and I finished cleaning up. But yeah, it was quite a day. Everything went smooth. I will say that. Everything went smooth. There was I didn't miss. Dropped the animal, first shot. You know, it went smooth. It was almost textbook. Aside from taking too long to skin it and gut it, but that's all right. It was all good. Other than that, yeah,
we left it up even high enough.
Yeah, that was hard. It was like, okay, like I got a neighbor I could call. I actually talked to my neighbor the next day. I told him, I was like, yeah, it was 1,300 pounds. And he goes, why didn't you call me? I was like, I figured you were at work. And he goes, I would have left work for that. He's like, I would have brought my tractor over. So Christmas, right in the middle of all this stuff going on. We had a good Christmas. A lot like Jason's. It was really low key. We had this huge rainstorm come in. It started raining yesterday, Christmas Day, about, 11 o'clock, noon, something like that. And it hasn't stopped raining. I think last I checked, our rain gauge out there is almost at 5 inches. So we've got a bunch of rain.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been nonstop for over 24 hours now. Everything is soaked.
I got a creek.
Yeah.
I got a creek running through my property right now.
Yeah, I was down checking the mail, and the culvert that leaves the property, usually there's just a small trickle running through it at all times, and it's like a raging torrent of water leaving the properity. So yeah, it's been a lot of rain. I think that's about it.
Way, no.
Yeah, it's coming for you guys. I think it's just doing this big swipe right up the eastern United States. Usually we get these storms right before you do. So yeah, I think that was about it.
Been cold though.
No, it has not been cold.
Yeah.
Aside from last week, it was cold for like 3 days, and it's just
warm.
Yeah. Meg was talking to her dad out in California, and he was like, "Oh yeah, it's been really cold this Christmas, 60 degrees." And we kind of laughed. It was like, yeah, it was 20 degrees last week, just a couple days ago, and here it is. It's like 50 degrees, but yeah, I suppose when you're in California, 60 degrees is kind of cold.
How much meat do you think you'll end up getting? Sounds like you're going to have quite a bit, though, if you weighed 1,300 pounds.
See, I was betting that whole cow was like 700 pounds. So I was vastly incorrect.
Yep.
I don't know. It'll be interesting. I would say each one of those quarters probably weighed around 300 pounds. Easy.
Wow.
When we were picking them up. Yeah. I have to break these things down into like subprimals just to bring them out of the trailer into the kitchen. So it's going to be interesting. I'm going to try to get weights on everything as it comes out of the trailer, just for our records. I may be making an emergency trip to Lowe's to see if I could find another freezer. Like we got a little bit of room. Right. We got our beef freezer, and it's pretty much empty. There's like some vegetables and stuff in it that can come out, but seeing how much meat that is, it's like, we're going to be making a lot of jerky, and we're going to be canning a lot this next week, just so we can fit it all. But that's all good. Like it's the right time of year to do this stuff.
Was he 100% Jersey?
Oh yeah,
what was he?
He was a full blood Jersey.
Okay. So that's good size milk cow. If you think about it, most people think that when you're raising a milk cow for beef, you're not going to get a lot of meat. But in 2 years, you grass fed him basically, right?
Yeah, he was 100% grass fed. Actually, I want to say we'll have to get a new estimate, but we were basing how much we've fed him, how much, figuring out the numbers. And honestly, because we've been able to grass graze almost all year long, save it maybe 2 months, something like that, because, doing the intensive rotational grazing, we've really been able to make use of our grass. So taking in all the hay and everything that we've fed him, I mean, these numbers will change, but we were down under $2 a pound for how much that steer cost. That'll change now that we have a different, I think we're basing that off of if he was 800 pounds. So that price will come down a little bit since he was a little bit bigger.
Pound now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty cool. It was like, when you're in it at the end of the year, this is the time we really like sit and figure out, hey, is what we're doing working, all of that stuff. And we sat down and we've been doing these pig butchering workshops and selling piglets and stuff like that. Well, our biggest complaint is the feed. We're feeding these animals and it hurts every time we have to order feed, and feed is going up so much. And so it's kind of like, well, maybe we need to get out of guinea hogs. Like, this isn't worth it. And then we sat down and ran all the numbers, and because of the classes and because of selling piglets and stuff like that, we're essentially getting our pigs for free. So, this is the time of year we sit down and figure out all of these numbers, and as the numbers are, everything's getting wrapped up, everything's coming to an end. It's all coming together, and it's like, oh, okay, like, we're actually not as far behind as we thought. We're actually a little bit ahead. It's a good time of year. I think we've all kind of talked about this a little bit about, planning, what are you going to do this next year and stuff like that. A lot of it for us is do we want to stick with the program we've been doing, as far as animals go? Do we want to keep pumping feed into these animals and stuff like that? And seeing the numbers, it's like, oh, that's not as bad as I thought.
Did he nurse right up until you sold the mother?
Oh, yeah. You kidding? I don't know why she wouldn't wean him. I mean, it was kind of nice because if we needed a day off, we could just put him back with her and he'd go over there and nurse her dry and we wouldn't have to milk. So we did the calf sharing thing all the way up until the day we sold her. Which I would highly recommend if someone's wanting a dairy cow and you're staring at the fact that you might not get a day off ever, keep the calf. That way you can put the calf on her if you need a day off.
That's what we do. The calf's, he was born whenever, like right before we got him. We've had her for quite a few months now. And I'd say he's got to be pushing 500 to 700 pounds. And my father was like, he ain't a calf no more. Well, he's our calf and he's going to stay nursing as long as the mom lets him. Because like you said, if we want a day off, we can take a day off. We don't have to milk in the afternoon. We're feeding them hay and grass, so he's huge because he's nursing all the time. So We're going to get some awesome meat off of it. It's like, yeah, he might be big, but hey, it's working out in our favor still. And it worked out for you, it sounds like.
I think one of the interesting things, I'll have to do a cow that, didn't nurse up until he was, 2 years old, just by a steer and, whatever. This calf, when we got into this calf, was the most fat animal I have ever seen. I have never seen so much fat on a cow. And it was just like this beautiful yellow fat. And, that's from the grass and probably the milk.
Now, you saving like the tallow lard from the inside? Like, was that like a good amount or?
Jason can vouch for this. So I can get into it a little bit. I couldn't get the rumen out because it was so heavy, and I couldn't pick the cow up high enough with the tractor to, get everything to fall out the way it was supposed to. So I'm crawling inside this carcass trying to pull everything out. And every time I start pulling, it's like, hey, that's a lot of fat. I don't want to throw that on the ground. So I'm stopping every two seconds and grabbing a huge chunk of fat and setting it in the lug. And Jason can vouch for that. It was just kind of that's why it took so long. Is because it's like, well, hold on. I don't want this on the ground. Well, hold on. I don't want this on the ground either. Maybe we'll make some candles or something.
Yeah, we had a tarp. We had to bust out the tarp and then put everything on the tarp. And then we practically lay the whole two halves on a tarp. Well, we did.
Yeah, we did.
Because we couldn't raise it up high enough. And then we had to chop it kind of in quarters.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a lot.
That is crazy.
I was looking at my other video. The first cow that we did, that took about 5 hours.
Did it really?
And I remember I said it in the video. I was like, oh, that took about 5 hours. And then the second cow, that took 2 hours.
So it's just got to be muscle memory. The more you do it, the faster it gets. It's like doing pigs. You know, the first pig I ever did took hours and hours, and then, you know, now I can get a pig done in 20 minutes. So it's just, you know, new territory. Anytime I've helped anybody do a cow, it's their cow, and this time it was my cow. So, you know, it's just different. It's confidence.
Yeah.
Confidence is what makes the difference. All right, Al, how was your week?
Our week started off with crazy weather. We had last Monday it got to like 50 and we got rain. We got at our house we only got an inch. In town they got a couple of inches, and the local river, the Ammonoosuc River, rose like 7 feet. It
Wow.
was we were wet, we were muddy, but we didn't get flooded out around here. Town got flooded out. We've There was a bunch of damage going on. A few towns over got flooded out. There was an area that like a paving company like that does highways and stuff puts all their equipment for the winter. They had a full-size 18-wheeler tanker truck with the tractor trailer onto the tanker. It was empty. Well, that was going down the river because the water picked it up, and it got stuck under a bridge. I guess it took them a day with an excavator to dig it out, and it ruined it. There's houses that are flooded out, and it's just foundations left, and so it's just crazy.
No snow?
No snow. We had snow. We had probably 4 inches. We had probably a foot or two of frost in the ground. So the next day, I was able to dig a trench from my workshop to the barn and bury our underground conduit to run electrical. So I took advantage of it a little bit, but I dug down 32 inches and I did not find any frost. It was just mud. There was no ice, no frost left in the ground the following day. I was like, this is crazy. We got cold a little bit. Everything, the ground froze up for, I don't know, probably 3-4 days. And now today it's 40. We're supposed to be getting a bunch of rain starting tonight, tomorrow, and then the next day. We're not going to get as much. I think we'll get like an inch over a couple of days, but we don't have any snow to melt. So we're not getting the 5 inches like you guys got. But we were working on the barn. We decided, Gina was like, we're not working. It's too windy. And I was like, oh, we'll work inside. We'll wait inside the barn. And the wind was just whipping. It was crazy, but it was weird because it was 50 degrees out, but the ground was still melting. So you'd get like a cold breeze, and then you'd get like a hot breeze that blew past you. So kind of different. I don't know. I like working out in the weather like that, as long as you're undercover and you can have fun with it. So we spent the week working on the barn. Then we had Christmas. We just kind of do like a low-key, relaxing Christmas. I built a shooting table so we can all do family shooting. So we went out Christmas morning after Olivia opened her presents and we had breakfast. We went out shooting the guns for a little bit. That was fun. So hopefully we can do more of that.
That was a nice shooting table, by the way.
I thought we'd be the only ones out shooting. Thank you. I was impressed by your hide. How are you gonna tan that? Are you gonna do like the brain tanning?
Man, that was a bunch of work. Scraping a hide that big, like I've never fleshed a hide like that. That was a lot of work. My back was wrecked for like 2 days. I'm just gonna do egg tanning.
How many hours?
Oh gosh.
Okay.
Like I started the next day, so we killed on Wednesday. So Thursday, probably after I took the boys to work, I scraped all day. And then Friday, I scraped all day. I finished it up Friday night. Wow. You know, I don't know what I'm doing. I've never tanned a hide before. Watched a few videos that gave me the confidence to try it. And once I got my technique down, and I went and I made a fleshing beam. It's basically like a board that sits at an angle. You drape the hide over, and then you can, flesh it. Once I got all that sorted out, it started going really fast. But, that was the second day of doing it. But yeah, I'm just going to egg tan it. It's a bunch of work. Like, that is a huge, huge hide. The frame that I built, I went and got...
I can't believe how big that was.
Yeah, 8x10 was the frame, and it fills the entire frame. Like, it's incredible. Yeah, it's hanging on the side of the barn, on the south side of the barn. Right now, because of all the rain, I covered it with some plastic to keep the rain off of it, but I checked it yesterday morning before the rain started, and it was already drying nicely. So hopefully I can finish that thing up and bring it in here, and we'll have a nice rug.
That's cool.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Now you gonna try to soften it up after?
Oh yeah,
Or does it
I'm
not
dreading
get
that.
super hard doing? Like, that's what I was gonna say. If you spent a lot of time fleshing, I wonder how many hours it's gonna take softening it up after.
I've found a taxidermist here in North Carolina that's got a YouTube channel, and she showed, she's a taxidermist, so she does it every day, and she showed the tanning solution she uses and how easy it makes the process. And it's like, maybe I need to abandon the whole egg idea, and I'll just go get some of these, highfalutin tanning solutions. If it makes like she's taking these hides and just stretching them by hand, and you can see the fibers just break down as she's stretching. It was like, well, I've tried doing that with like I had some groundhog skin and some rabbit skin, and they don't stretch like that. So maybe I need to get some tanning solution. Yeah, some chemicals. So that's the whole thing. Is like, we don't want to use chemicals. It's going to be in here. All the kids, we're all going to be on it. I don't necessarily want chemicals right here on the living room floor, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Worst case scenario is I just make leather out of the whole thing. I can, if I fail and it's all full of holes and we don't like it, I can, you wet it back down and start over. So it's all good.
That would be cool though. Once it's all done, you have that in your house or whatever you do with it. It'd be a family heirloom piece after that.
Yeah, you need to drape it over you on the podcast.
Right.
That sucker's heavy. Just that skin is probably like 50 pounds.
So no plans for New Year's? Anyone? A lot like Christmas?
No. Maybe we'll go out and shoot some tannerite or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's more my game right there. After you showed me a picture of your shooting table, me and the boys went out Christmas Eve, and we did a whole bunch of shooting because we're just sitting around waiting. No. Not a whole lot to do on Christmas Eve, so we went out and we all used a couple hundred rounds through the 22, and we just had a blast. We have some swinging targets and stuff like that, and it was just like, man. That's cool. I told Meg, I was like, the boys are finally old enough. We can actually do stuff like this, and I'm not like a nervous wreck the entire time. Like, as soon as, the firearms come out, everybody gets serious. Everybody's like, they're not little kids anymore. So it's fun. I can really have fun with them. I think the next thing is I'm going to teach them how to like shoot skeet, and we're going to have to like get into that. Back when I was shooting all the time, man, I could blow some money shooting skeet on a weekend.
I'm sure. Yep. Yep. Can you do that in your yard? Is there a place for skeet shooting? Oh, you have to go somewhere.
We have a gun club like 5 minutes from here, and usually Saturday mornings you can hear when they're doing their skeet shooting, and we'll probably do that. I could probably get away shooting skeet here, but there's just neighbors in every direction, so I don't think it's a real good idea. Not to say that people don't shoot guns in any direction out here in the country. I mean, it's just a way of life out here. But when you find bullet holes in your barn that weren't there, it's like, okay, well.
What are you doing, Jason? Anything for New Year's?
No. No plans. I guess maybe go shooting.
There you go.
Yeah, no plans. No plans. We don't usually do much. No. Christmas and New Year's. I mean,
we're gonna butcher a cow by day and watch Lord of the Rings by night. You should come over. You guys can watch Lord of the Rings with us.
Yeah.
And then, do you have a butchering class the following weekend, Ben? Hope that be your last one.
The last one is like January 10th and 11th or something like that. Oh, 12th and 13th.
So you still have a few weeks.
Yeah.
So you still have
I don't know.
That's cool.
I don't know where we're putting them. After this oversized cow, we are going to be maxed out in the freezers.
Jason will help you. He's got some room.
Yeah, Just keep some in that cooler, and I'll just bring that home.
Actually, I did want to say before we get on to business, hey, thank you for trading turkey for pork. We didn't have turkey for Thanksgiving, and my soul was sad, and so we traded Jason some pork for a turkey, and we cooked that turkey up for Christmas Day yesterday. Oh, it was delicious. It was a good turkey.
It was good?
Yeah, it was excellent. Great turkey. And it wasn't like so big to where it was like tons and tons of leftovers. It was just like perfect sized turkey. 1, maybe 2 meals worth. Like, it was perfect. And it really had good flavor too. It was a good turkey.
Yeah, that was our one of our brown heritage turkeys. The smaller turkey. They're basically a wild turkey.
Yeah, looked like a wild turkey. Hey, I will say, like, maybe raise those things again. They had really, really good flavor. Maybe it's what you're feeding them.
Yeah, probably. It's the organic feed. Oh, those ones were from a farm 30 minutes from us. Pretty much a wild turkey. They weren't from a hatchery. Let's get into this Q&A. I think this should be fun. Thanks for everyone who posted a question. We're not necessarily going in order here, but we're just going to kind of go down and see if we have a question that we want to answer. Right off the bat, I think this is a fun one. Number 1, will Jason and Ben take a road trip to go visit Al at his off-grid homestead this coming year? Oh, man.
We've talked about it.
Time for a road trip.
Okay, so I don't know if Al knows this. I think I mentioned it to Ben, but when we first started the podcast, Lorraine, she came up with she already has an itinerary of, she has a whole like PDF of like how much it would cost for both families to go to your place. Like, she has a list of Airbnbs. She has how much gas is going to be, how long it's going to take. Like, she already has it listed out. Like, she already has how it's going to look. It's just a matter of picking a date.
Right.
And figuring that out. I don't know.
Right, figuring out all the logistics. How many days of driving?
I think it was 2 days.
2 days, yeah. Break it up.
Yeah. That would take a lot for us to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
I would love to.
You guys are welcome anytime.
You got to make the drive.
It would be awesome to do it in the winter. I think that would be cool.
Yeah, when we had a bunch of snow.
But then we might get snowed in or something. But
okay. The extended trip.
Yeah, you never know. But yeah, that would take a huge amount of planning. Because I can't just go by myself. I'd have to take the Hollars with us.
Right. Then the farm.
And we have to plan it.
Yep.
And that would be difficult to plan with schedules and stuff like that. But you never know. Hopefully.
Someday.
How about that same question, but the other way? Al, have you ever thought about coming down here?
Yeah.
We have thought about coming down there, but it's just the hard part of figuring out not so much logistics, but a farmsteader to take care of all the animals. I think that's usually the hard part.
That's the deal breaker most of the time.
It might be easier for you to come out here, Al.
Right. Probably would be easier.
It might be easier for you to come here.
I don't know. Not with a dairy cow.
We're trying to work on it. Right.
That's true. Yeah, that's hard. It's hard either way.
You got to have somebody that's good, reliable. So if you're gone, you don't have to worry about, something getting messed up. Or I shouldn't say something getting messed up, because something's going to always happen. You got to know that whoever's there is going to be able to take care of and figure out what they need to figure out and when you're not there.
There was one I saw, and I guess I could answer it, change it. It was, do you watch homesteaders from other countries on YouTube that may do things a bit differently? I don't know about you guys. I don't watch a lot of homesteading videos anymore. When we are filming it and doing it, we don't watch a whole lot of homesteading videos. That used to be all we watched was homesteading videos. But I will say, there are, I guess technically they're kind of like homesteading videos. There's a whole bunch of YouTube channels from Azerbaijan. It's over there, kind of like in the Middle East, a little north of there. It's in the mountains. And these people, they process animals, they cook whole cows. I mean, you name it. And they're doing a lot of food prep and food storage and stuff like that. And they're doing it out on, wood fires and, very primitive. That's about the only homesteading videos I watch, and yeah, they're from other countries. I don't know. How about you guys?
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about, and we have seen that one. There's like no talking.
Yep.
And it's just them doing stuff. Yeah.
There's like 6 or 7 channels that are identical.
I don't know if I've seen that one, but I've seen different ones like that, more like old world of cooking things and stuff, and I find that very interesting, intriguing. We watch, I don't know, I'd say we watch stuff from all over. We'll watch, I think we go in different kicks depending on the seasons of who we're watching, what we're watching, kind of thing. But I like learning and watching from like whether it's different countries or different areas and finding out what they're doing and how they're doing, and just trying to get different ideas for sure.
But yeah, it's hard. It's hard to watch other channels though.
Yep.
When you're the one doing all the posting and editing and stuff, it's like
don't have time for
I don't
YouTube.
really watch otherwise.
Right.
I know.
Like you said, at first I thought I consumed all the time, and then the more you do and the more you get into it, you have the less and less time you have for sure.
Yeah, unless it's something specific that I really need to know or learn.
Yep.
YouTube
Other
University.
Than that, of just leisurely watching it. Yeah, YouTube University. Like other than that, I'm not really watching YouTube.
I saw one on there. It was just kind of more for me. It was asking me if I figured out how or why the window on my TYM tractor broke. And that happened the other day. So I used the tractor the night before or the afternoon before. I was cleaning out the stalls. I had the tractor running. It was cold out, not super cold. It was probably like 20 degrees. So I had the tractor running. I kept going in and out, dumping the manure out, and then I parked it down by the barn overnight. The next day we're out working. We're getting ready to go back up to the house, and I stopped the side-by-side, and she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "The window on the TYM tractor's broken." She was like, "What?" We get out. All of the glass is on the outside of the tractor. It was fresh snow, so it was sitting outside of the tractor. There was no glass. There was no rocks. There was no like an area where a bird hit it or anything. The glass wasn't inside. So it kind of told me like the window like exploded out. I don't know how, but TYM's going to warranty it. And they're supposed to be sending somebody out, I think Friday, to fix it.
Well, that's nice.
But I wish I knew how it happened. It's kind of weird.
Wow.
I don't know if it had to do with the weather, like the temperature change, having the heat on and then just going and parking it. But I mean, we've never had it happen before, so I mean, I broke one this summer, but that was my fault, hitting it with having a rock come up and hit it when I was mowing. So I would take blame for this one if I knew it was me, but I don't. And when I called the dealer, he's like, "Yeah, I've never heard of that before." He's like, we hear people breaking them during transport or breaking them when they're driving in the field with the door open. I took pictures. I took like a bunch of pictures. And I just sent them to him. I'm like, if you need any more information, I'm like, I'm not moving the door and I'm not moving the tractor until I hear from you, because I don't. It worked out perfect because it was freshly snowed the night before. So you could just see everything. There's no footprints. There was nothing around the tractor, just glass on fresh white snow. So I just left it there and took a bunch of pictures and sent it to him.
What's the craziest thing you'd like to add to your homestead?
I was just looking at that one.
Well, what's crazy? I don't know. Like it's all crazy.
Right.
Yeah. Ostrich. Yeah, a bison.
I'd love to. I'd like a Watusi. You know what a Watusi is?
Oh yeah, they have the like long.
Yeah, long. It's kind of like a Texas Longhorn, but their horns are all curvy. I don't know. I don't know why. We saw some Watusis at the fair a couple years ago, and they were like just these big, gentle, super giant horned cows. I think they're from like India or something like that. But I was astounded at how graceful these animals are. They could walk through a doorway, and the way they just turn their head and they walk right through the doorway without even bumping anything. It was like, wow, that's kind of cool. So I don't know, Watusi, maybe an ostrich. Yeah. If we did ostriches, I would need some major infrastructure. But ostrich is delicious, so that's kind of where I'm at with it.
I would say for us right now, the craziest thing would be like Scottish Highlander cows. We're thinking about those just because they're kind of like a goat, like a cow, but
they're
a goat.
Cool looking.
Yeah, they're cool.
They're nice looking.
They like to eat like brush and shrubs, and we got a lot of that with the land we have right now. So I'm kind of thinking get into Scottish Highlanders whether we stick with them or not, but I think it'd definitely be like the next phase for improving our grasslands.
I think I don't know if this is crazy, but like a commercial kitchen, so, walk-in cooler type place,
Yeah,
I think would be
cool.
awesome.
Would you build it on the house, or does it be like its own separate building? What are you thinking?
I'm thinking a separate building,
Separate building,
or heck, I don't know. In the kitchen, in our own kitchen would be kind of cool too.
right?
We need a bigger kitchen. I know, but like 10 years ago, butchering a chicken was the craziest thing I could think of.
I'd actually thought of an answer to this question, and I didn't write it down on my little sheet right here. It was what's the thing you are proudest of mastering? I wouldn't say I have mastered anything, but there have been some things that I've learned since we came out here and started living this life. I can't describe how happy I am for the opportunity to learn how to butcher animals without having to go spend a whole bunch of time, working in a butcher shop. Like, I've gotten to do it at my own pace. I've gotten to work with other people and learn this stuff. I guess I don't know if I'd say proudest, but I feel the most like satisfaction learning how to break down animals. I think it's a very useful skill. I think it's really cool. What about you guys?
Yeah, I think along those lines I'm with you. I don't feel like I've mastered anything, but I would say teaching a class, like an in-person class, getting to that mindset of like, hey, I could teach somebody like one-on-one of how to do this that we're doing, whatever it is that we're doing. I think that aspect of it, because I never thought that I would get to that point. Or people asking, hey, can you teach me this? Or can I come here? Can I go over and you teach me? Or pay for a class that we offer. Like, that's just wild to me. So I think that aspect, I would say.
I would agree with all of you. Definitely not a master of anything, but I think I'm gonna wrap it all up and call it all one. Like building our homestead, and to me, that's building, it's butchering. But I think the part that I get most excited about is like looking back and thinking about how far we came and the skills we've learned over. Like butchering a chicken, like, man, that's a nice, like, you can butcher a chicken, it looks better than a store-bought chicken. I can butcher my own pig and I can wrap it and it looks nice. Or like if I'm doing a building project, I'm like, this is coming out nice. I remember the first house project I ever worked on, but if I didn't have the opportunities to do it, we wouldn't be where we are. So it's just I don't know, just to look back and I think reflect on all of that for sure. I guess the comments that always drove me nuts was like, oh, you don't know what you're doing, don't do that, or hire somebody. You're never gonna learn how to do stuff if you don't try. But
yeah,
yep.
So it's taking the time to reflect, I guess, and not beating yourself up when you're first starting out doing something. If you butcher a chicken and it doesn't look pretty, or you butcher a pig and the cuts aren't perfect like you get at a butcher shop, they're all going to eat the same. They're going to still taste the same. They might not be pretty, but
yeah,
you'll do better next time.
it doesn't matter.
Right. So have you ever thought about getting a guardian livestock dog? We almost got one last year. We do think about it. We almost got one last year. I think it was Premier One. Fencing. They have a farm out there, a sheep farm, and every year I guess they have a litter. And we could have got one from them. We would have had to have somebody go get it or pay somebody, I guess, to bring it back. But it was like you, Jason. It was like, man, I really want that. It came from a really good bloodline. It was kind of like trained by the parents, but I'm like, it's not the right time. I'd love to get a guardian livestock dog once we got the farm set up. We got a place for it, fencing for it, and like the right animals for it. So we always think about it, but we're waiting for the right time. I think that's like a good key to always learn.
I had that question wrote down, and that's pretty much where I'm at with it. I would love to get a guardian dog like that, but there's infrastructure and all sorts of stuff that has to go on before. And, I don't want to get one and make a pet out of it.
Right.
I have seen so many people, they'll get those dogs and then they just become a pet. It's like they are really best suited to be a livestock guardian animal. So I don't know. Maybe eventually. I'm right there with you.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's probably in our future too. This year we had an opportunity to get one. Someone was breeding them and asked me if I wanted one, and I don't think we're ready for the, again, the fencing.
Yep.
I'd be afraid that he would just take off or roam around, or, there's other dogs in the area. Like, I just don't want to be that neighbor where they just, around here, people just let their dogs loose and do whatever they want. And I don't want to be that. And plus taking the time to train a dog,
right.
Like that's,
yep.
I know nothing about that. So that would take a lot of training on my part too, to try to figure out. But I think eventually we'll probably get there. All right, I have one. Jason, what prompted you to want to start a podcast with the guys? Yeah, so I had this idea of a podcast of just a few guys just hanging out, guys that are in this homesteading space, and I thought, man, it'd be cool just to like talk on the phone with somebody and just, hey, what did you do this week? Just kind of just as friends. And I had that idea a couple years ago, but I did not want to be the one to record it, and I didn't want to be the one to edit it, and I didn't want to be the one to find the guys, and I didn't want to be the one to start it, right? And so 2 years went by, but I said, if somebody asked me to be on a podcast like that, this is in my brain, right? This is in my brain. And I'm like, then I would say yeah to that, if I just didn't have to do anything, And so 2 years went by and no one's ever asked me. So I was like, you know what? I guess I got to be the one to do it. And so the first two guys, I actually thought it was you guys. So Ben, we've talked before, and I was like, it'd be cool to talk to Ben. Even though I talked to you more than Al, previously we never even met Al in person. First time talking to him on the phone was when I asked him to be on the podcast.
I'm glad you asked.
Yeah, I'm glad you said yeah. So selfishly, I just wanted to talk to you guys on the phone, and I said, yeah, we'll just record it, and
right.
And it'll be fun, just hanging out, And I think it's important that we're like three guys and we're just like talking on the phone and we're just like kind of hanging out. And I don't know, I felt like maybe other people can find some value into that. Somehow, things that we're saying, things that we're talking about, and yeah, that's why I wanted to start it. But I'm glad you guys said yeah.
Thanks for asking.
Yeah, well, I'm glad we putting it together
this long.
Right.
Yeah.
You're the one who does all the work now.
I know. And it's not bad. It's actually easier. It's a lot easier.
We just sit here and have a phone call and sit and talk, and like it's cool. All right, I had one. I wrote this down. I think it was number 35. What is your biggest cause of procrastination? So I'd be curious to hear what you guys say, but honestly, the biggest thing that causes me to procrastinate is knowing I have to film it. If I know I have to film something that I don't know how to do, I will procrastinate like nobody's business. If it's something I've done 100 times, yeah, no problem. But yeah, usually if I'm procrastinating, it's because I don't want to film it.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think for me, I feel like time is more expensive than money. Because you can't get back that time.
Yep.
Even though for a lot of things, yeah, not having enough money to do something, that is a struggle. So it's either time or money for me. Yeah, I guess I can see where you're coming from though, Ben, like filming it, especially if you had never done it. Just for me, it's taking the time to do a little bit of research, I want to do a little bit of research before I get into it. Like the fencing, I want to at least kind of know of an idea how it works. Don't get out there and just cause it'll be like a horrible video. So that part of the procrastination of trying to figure out how to do something before you actually film it, that takes time.
Yep.
And that's what's tough about it.
I would say biggest procrastination is thinking, will the audience want to watch this if I do this with the project?
That's a good one too, yeah.
Or so like, am I gonna be able to start and finish it? Like this is what we do for a living. So if your audience isn't enjoying the process, are you gonna be able to finish the project? Kind of thing. So I guess that would be procrastination, I guess, on some things for sure.
And sometimes they surprise you.
Right.
Because you're like, I can't believe they want to watch that. I can't believe this video is doing really good.
Right.
It's like people like those fencing videos that I'm doing.
That's good.
Which is
you got lots of fencing.
I got a lot of fencing to do, so which is kind of crazy to me, but
that's good though.
You're gonna be a professional by the time you're done.
How's a homestead lifestyle different from a 9-to-5 lifestyle? Well, for one, it's double the work.
Yep.
Triple the work. It's longer hours because it doesn't stop.
Agreed.
There's no 9-to-5.
There's no
harder.
Yep. But
yeah, no 9-to-5.
It is a commitment. It's not like.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not doing it, or you still have a job.
And we're more in charge of us. I mean, it's up to us.
Yeah. Right. You're in charge of your own time.
You don't get a sick day.
Nope.
Yep. Nope. No sick days.
The animals don't give you Christmas off. Milking don't stop.
I didn't get a Christmas bonus this year.
Nope.
Actually, my Christmas bonus was smoked chicken.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just different. It's just different mindset.
It is. You don't get Christmas off. I mean, you do and you don't.
No. No. It's more difficult. 9-to-5 was easy and comfortable and predictable.
Right.
This, what we're doing now, is nowhere near any of those things.
It's more. Go for it.
Go ahead.
No, go for it.
I think I was going to say the same thing. It's more rewarding. It's more fulfilling.
Correct. Yep. You might have to sit back and stop and think because it is a grind.
Yeah.
But you need to. I think you definitely got to stop, sit back, and think and reflect, and kind of like evaluate like over a year, like I guess your health, where you've come, where your animals are, and that kind of stuff. It's not instant gratification when you're starting a homestead.
And your farm animals are your office workers. They talk back to you in their own way. But yeah, it's very different.
The last question for all of us. What is the one regret you did not accomplish this year, and will you tackle it next year?
I think I have two of them. One, I still have all my woodworking stuff in my basement that I had in my wood shop at our other property. I was planning on moving that all to my barn and starting my own, like a new workshop. I didn't do any of that. And I hope I could get to that this year, because I kind of want to start doing that again. I think it's been, 2 years since I was making anything with wood, and like I used to sell it on our website and stuff. And I really love doing it. I kind of miss it. But it's not like I'm not busy. It's just I've got different priorities. So I hope I could get to that. Also, the number 2 is I wanted to do a permanent chicken butchering station. Until I realized how expensive concrete is, then I was like, maybe I could wait. So I don't know if I'm going to get to that this year. Plus, it became not a priority. Right? I mean, it'd be nice to have, but we're doing it with easy ups,
just fine.
Yep. Which is fine. I'm just tired of putting up easy ups, I guess. That's one of the things I don't like doing, but I don't know if I'll get to that this year.
Kind of tying into that a little bit, I would say for the past probably 2-3 years, we have also wanted to build a permanent like butchering space, just a place we can scald pigs, a place we can do chickens out of the sun or the rain. And we just keep pushing it back. It's like you said, other things take priority, and it's like, well, we can set up the easy up. We can just make do. We've made do so far. We'll just continue to make do. But I'm looking at stuff coming back up on the list of, hey, we were going to do this 2 years ago, and we put it on the list last year, and it's going to go back on the list again. There's a lot of infrastructure I need to build around here. It's looking like we're going to need to build the deck and add an addition to this place real quick. Like, we want to get Buggy out of our bedroom because, she's got her bed in our room, and it hasn't been a big deal, but it would be nice to have our room back. And we don't really have a closet we could stick her in, so I'm going to build an addition. Well, it's just stuff like that. I would like to build a pole barn out in front of our barn, and that can be our butchering space. I would like to tear down our shed up here and build an actual, like, legitimate shop building. That way I can get all of my equipment out of the bottom of the barn where it floods. But it's all priorities. It's, the squeaky wheel gets the grease around here, so we just go after what is making the most noise. What about you, Al?
Mine would be I would say not having enough animals on the homestead or on the property as quickly as we wanted to. But then on the same hand, we kind of did it on purpose just because we're like, okay, let's get some infrastructure in place before, just with our winters and everything. So we're trying to we should have the barn wrapped up with it, I would hope, within another month. And we won't have water lines and stuff. I would love to have had water lines to the workshop and barn, but we had such a nasty, wet summer and spring. I didn't want to be digging trenches and running like hundreds of feet of water lines, like 4 feet down on the ground, and trying to have that opened. And so it's kind of like the weather. We're trying to like work around the weather this year and kind of plan. So hopefully this year we'll get some cows on the homestead or some sheep and just kind of expand it that way and get more into raising more beef and animals and get more into butchering. We've stepped back from butchering just because we haven't made it a priority. We've had other things to do, but I don't know. It'll be nice to do our own butchering again for sure.
Yeah, that's probably a smart way of doing it. You got to get your infrastructure in there. It'll make it more pleasing once you do get the animals.
Easier.
Hopefully, yeah.
Right.
Well, cool, guys. I think that's it. Those are some good questions. Hopefully we answered some of your questions, and maybe we'll do this another Q&A another time. But I appreciate everyone listening and watching this podcast. We also are almost at 11,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. So if you have not, head on over there and hit the subscribe button. Thank you guys for listening and watching, and Happy New Year. Hope everyone has an awesome New Year's, and hope everyone gets what they deserve this year. Thank you guys for watching.
See you in 2024.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.